So I'm going to talk about some of the stories that I've been through. This is me when I was a kid. Anyone remember this little box there? Someone? Playing games, you have to fail a lot all the time. It says game over pretty much every 30 seconds. So you get used to failing from the start. And making games is pretty much the same. Everyone knows that Angry Birds was a 50-second game that this company had made. So when you make games, you have to accept failure. But as humans, we love control. We like to be in control and to measure ourselves by success. So I have to establish my successes before going forward. Built a games company, mobile games, and we listed on NASDAQ. I was a computer geek, I still am. I had no knowledge about business or marketing. We just built games we liked, and we kind of stumbled upon success, and it grew. The story I'm going to talk about today is Playfish, which is our second. We built a company, social games, Facebook social. Anyone play games on Facebook? Maybe not anymore. Someone must have played some games on Facebook. Good, up with the hands, come on, come on, come on, good. So we made some of those, and we had a big exit. So I'm going to talk about this sense of you're building this massive success. You get this hype in your body. This is such an awesome thing. We're so good. And then something terrible happens, and it breaks down. How does that feel? So our mission was to change how the world plays games. Quite a big vision to go for. In our previous companies, it was very reactive. We're just going to make games. But here, we're going to change fundamentally how people play games. These are the people that were playing games before. This is how I used to play games. But it was changing. This is my grandmother. She's 90. She's on Facebook. She's played our games. How do you make games for these people? We had no idea. We couldn't use the expertise from this to make games for these people. Nintendo Wii, you never saw the game. You saw people having fun together. It was all about the emotions that these people were sharing. So for us, it was how do we go into take all the knowledge that we think we have from making games and apply it to a new field? We had no idea, so we just jumped into it. The whole point was to put the game in where people were, not take people and get them into your product, but take your product and put them where they were. We wanted them to move from this old model of paying first and then playing. Imagine this, you buy a PlayStation, how much is that, like 3,000 kroner or something? You buy a game, 600 kroner. You're kind of in debt to this game. You have to enjoy it. If not, you failed your purchase. So it's kind of this major commitment, and it means that you are identifying yourself as a gamer. But we wanted people to come in for free, and then pay once they enjoyed the game. So completely different experience. If we fail at making a good game, then you will not pay. But if you make the choice of playing the game, there's no commitment on your side. So it's easier to come in. And this one, I think, is a massive impact on how we see failure and how we measure this. Anything you do, if you sink cost or time into it, then you do not want to fail. You want to control the outcome so it ends up like a successful outcome. So if you think of the pink line as investment going into a game or any product or maybe your PhD thesis or whatever you're doing, and then you want to have this measure of success afterwards. In the game, you want to have revenue afterwards. And the whole model of developing first, selling after, is really bad in any kind of innovation, especially when now the games cost $100, $200 million to make. So that investment means that you have to control the process so not to fail. The good thing now is most things are changing. That means that you can actually spread development and actual real use over time. So that you can introduce it earlier and let people use it, and you limit the amount of spending. Like you spend all this money on technology without knowing whether... These are classical things now, but it really impacts in how you say, okay, this measure of success, we are launching on the 23rd of December, we have to hit this kind of revenue. Or you say, let's just get it out and see how they use it, and then we'll build success over time. It really changes how you think about things. And for us, there were other things involved. So we had these great things in our business model, and then we were artistic people mixed with these business thinkers. Before, we were very split. Artists made the game, marketeers and salespeople sold the game. But now we were together in this. We had to kind of let go of... We measure success in a very artistically beautiful game. These other guys measure success in something which is going to make as much money. And we had to let go of all our preconceptions to be able to build something. You need the data to measure, and you need a vision to build something big. Facebook was growing. We were building our offices. We had a little bit of a headcount in Tromsø in the north and then in London. We were 4 people in each game. No process at all. Everything just happened. We had really no need for control. And it felt chaotic, but everyone was just working together and had this kind of dreamy vision of what to make. We made a few games, and we're thinking, can we change how the world plays games? After 30 days of our first game, we'd reached 10,000 daily active players. It felt like a huge success. We had no benchmark on how to measure ourselves. We had champagne in the office, and everything was good. And then 6 months later, we had 1 million daily active players. And we had no idea, this is massive, this must be huge. How are you achieving this success? And we began to grow, and we began to see that we have this bigger organization and we have this success, we need to maintain this success. And how do we do that? We need to start putting in control and processes in order to make sure that we don't fail once we have this success. We have more people in the team. Once you have more people in the team, you need to start telling people what to do because you have the success, so you take that with you and you start telling people, this is how we work, this is how we do it, rather than giving them the control or the context and the freedom. We made some really cool games. This one was our biggest success. This is kind of the peak of our awesomeness. We are really awesome, really good at this. But this game is quite fun. But we started, all you have is a pet, and you buy clothes for the pet, and then you buy furniture to put in the house. And we thought we're making this for girls, maybe 16, 18, but 70% of the paying users were women, ladies, young girls, 35 plus. And if you see on the bars on the left-hand side, there are 3 bars. You have to take care of your pet. You have to clean it. You have to give it a hug and show it to your friends. And you have to do that every single day. It's quite a lot of hard work. So we actually made a robot, a nanny bot, that does this for you. So people paid not to play the game. And it's kind of a good thing when you start taking money for not using your product. But this is not something you can predict beforehand. You have to have this hypothesis that was mentioned earlier. You have to have a hypothesis, go for it, and then let it drop. And if you have a culture that allows to do that, then you will end up being more successful. But when you're awesome and you suddenly have 13 million daily active users, we reached about 280 million users in total, massive amount of number. And then this guy has got your logo behind himself, you feel pretty cool, and then a company buys you for a huge amount of money. So all this success, everything you built up, all these people are now, you put a stamp on it. This is now worth this much. That's great, you did a good job. But now we need to see some returns on this. So all these big things, 300 people, we were now about 50 people on each game. So imagine within 2 years, the whole organization has changed so much. The measure of success was completely different. The initial measure of success was, do we manage to launch a game? Can 2 people make a game? That's good. But now it's like, okay, we're putting this investment in. The CEO is saying we have $13 million marketing budget. You start to kind of put these numerical values to your success, and you start to control. First game we released after being acquired, a massive failure. So you get acquired, we had a 2-year earn-out period, which means you get acquired, and then after over 2 years, you need to earn a certain amount of money. So your mindset switches from changing the world, having fun, to measuring yourself on quarterly revenue, a big mindset change. And then we launched this game made in Tromsø. It was kind of okay. If you look at the graph for the back, it's this one here, the green one. See the green one bouncing up. Huge peak. But that was not because the game was good, because we only had so many users from the other games that we could move over. The point here that I'd like to make is that if you look at so far there's been a big success story, right, with all these users' growth. But within that, these are all the failed games. So these are all the games that didn't make it. This one and this one are the successes, the only ones carrying the whole company. Imagine 300 people. Those 2 games are made from about 20 of them. So there's 280 people who don't feel successful because they didn't actually contribute so much to that. But from the outside, a really cool, successful company. This is what we're thinking about, and this is what's happening. Flattening out, really spiking. Facebook was turned upside down. Nothing was working. Our organization was really messed up. No one felt it was not a cool place to be. We managed to get our revenue going by really forcefully pushing this. I set up a team in Montreal, 50 people, measured it only by the financial outcome. We have 3 failures, and the whole team had to be fired. So you get all these people in. It feels cool. You're building something, but then you have to go and tell them you're out. Sorry. And all these people, I wish I didn't have time to put all their faces up there, because you think that we're giving them this dream, their job, and then because you're only motivated by short-term financial goal, you're actually killing their dream, and you have to let them go. The cool thing is, though, I'm going to jump, I don't have time for this. The cool thing is, after this rapid decline, so 2 years after our acquisition, there's no more Playfish. All these people have been fired, and there's nothing more. All the games are shut down, and this rapid growth has turned into a rapid decline. And if you see, I think with all these startups that grow so quickly, I think there is a certain fragility to it, and you have to accept that. Because what's happened afterwards is that all these Playfish offices have turned into a lot of cool new game companies, which I think has been spoken about, the generational change. If you look at Finland, Sweden, the generational change with Nokia and all these big corporations that are letting people go after failures, and they go out and build their own companies. All the people that I was so sad that we had to let go are now much more happy in their places. They're creating their own businesses, their own things. They're taking what they learned and doing something new. So sometimes I think it's a little bit maybe like you're saying, you have to let go, or you have to kind of stop measuring success by this continual stream of let's say one company, EA, want to have this continual stream of growth and success in one unit. But I think you can let people go and let them have success separately, and still, if you want, reap financial rewards from that. So this is from the Netflix company presentation. I think this one sums up a lot what happened for us. Every company wants growth, and then with growth comes complexity. Complexity in all areas, as in your organization, your product, the way you think. And when you grow, the percentage of high-performance employees also goes down, just by nature. I think if you look back in the companies you're in, maybe 1 in 10 are really, really good people, if it's over 100, 200 people. So at least the percentage of really good people goes down. And then you get this chaos that emerges. You move from having a bunch of really self-organized good people into a more complex org, and the good people go out, and you get the point where, how do we control this? We need to put in process to control these people. Rather than them being self-organized and really good, we need to use process to control people. So process comes in, and more of the high-performance people go out. And you end up with just process, and no humans, and no vision to drive it. And I think this is really what killed us. And this feeling of knowing everything. That we came into this knowing nothing. We accumulated a lot of value, and we thought that we were the best. And I remember sitting there making checklists, saying that this is how we make our game. You go through this step, do this, 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 and then you do this next. So I think that's a lot of the tendencies as well. When you go in our process, we would have to. It's like going up to an exam. You would get your game ready, and you go to a board and you say, this is our game, what do you think about it? Can we please proceed in making this game? So rather than saying to the team, do you believe in your game? Like, is this something you think you want to make? You put it up to this committee, and you get this control process rather than context. And I think to be able to succeed, what I was talking about earlier, just have this context, this vision, and let people operate more freely within that. And it's a better formula for success. I have 3 more minutes. Are there any questions directly on the direct? Do you have a question? You always have good questions.
Not loads of questions.
Yeah.
I want to have the whole. I mean, I want to know what are you feeling right now in your life? That's one of the things I want.
It's really weird, and it's kind of this thing as well. So I made, for me, at From Stone Geek, I made quite a lot of money on this, and it's really strange. When you don't have money, you take much more. At least for me personally, I took much more risk. I didn't care about money, but now that I have money, there's the only thing. What if I lose this money? What if I make a bad investment? That's going to be really bad. So I feel, in that sense, it's weird. I think it's the same. You get something, and you fear to lose it. If you don't have it, you don't have any fear of losing anything. And the other part is, from the outside, it kind of, wow, that's really successful. But I don't experience this as a success in the same way. There's so many failures. There's so many people that I know in the company that, damn, we were just kind of using them for some financial good in this sense. So I have a lot of. It's cool to have been part of it, and it's really lifelong friends. Learned a lot, but it's kind of a mixed. I feel guilty in some ways. It's really weird. But there you go.
Thank you. Come on up.